They told me I'd never be welcomed back. They told me that once you walk away from the big house, the door locks behind you forever. For 5 years, I believed that. I'm Jill. You watched me grow up. You watched me get married. And then you watched me disappear. You read the headlines about the lawsuit, the book, and the feud that tore my family apart. You saw the smiles on Instagram, but you didn't see the nights I cried myself to sleep, wondering if I would ever hug my dad again. But last week, the phone rang. And the name on the screen made my heart stop. It wasn't a lawyer. It wasn't a reporter. It was my father. He said one sentence that changed everything. Jill, it's time to come home against everyone's advice, even against my own fear. I got in the car. I drove down that long driveway. And for the first time in half a decade, I walked through the front door. This isn't the story the tabloids are telling you. This is the truth about what happened inside that kitchen. The words we finally said and the secret promise that might just heal us all. It was a Tuesday afternoon. Ordinary. Boring, even. I was in the kitchen in Siloam Springs, folding laundry. The boys were outside playing with the dog. My phone was on the counter, buzzing against the granite. I glanced at it, expecting it to be Derick or maybe Jessa. But the name on the screen froze me. Dad. I stared at it. For 5 years, our communication has been through lawyers, through texts that felt like business transactions, or through brief, awkward encounters at weddings where we stood on opposite sides of the room. He doesn't call. He just doesn't. My hand was shaking when I picked it up. I thought, is someone dead? Is it grandma? Is it mom? I slid the bar to answer and said, hello? His voice sounded older, rougher. He didn't do the cheerful Jim Bob, Duggar here! Greeting! He just said, Jill, are you busy? I sat down on the floor right there next to the dishwasher. He said, I've been doing a lot of praying, and I miss my daughter. I want you to come over. Just you. No lawyers, no cameras. Just come home. The silence that followed was heavy. I could hear the clock ticking on my wall. Every instinct in me said to run, to hang up, to protect myself. But the little girl inside me, the girl who used to be his favorite, she wanted to go. I whispered, okay, Dad, I'm coming in. The drive from our house to the compound isn't long, but that day, it felt like crossing an ocean. I got in my car, and as soon as I hit the highway, the memories started flooding back. I passed the exit where we used to go for ice cream after filming. I passed the thrift store where Mom taught us to shop. Every mile marker was a memory, some good, most complicated. I remembered the day we left, the day Derick and I packed up our stuff and realized we were being cut off. I remembered the fear of wondering how we would pay for our own groceries. I remembered the feeling of being an orphan while my parents were still alive. I gripped the steering wheel so hard my knuckles turned white. I kept rehearsing what I would say. Why now? Why did you sue us? Why didn't you protect me? But then I thought about the Bible verses he used to quote. Honor thy father. I realized I wasn't going there to fight. I was tired of fighting. I was going there to see if there was anything left to salvage. As I turned onto the gravel road leading to the property, My stomach dropped. That long driveway, it used to mean safety. For the last 5 years, it has meant danger. The gate, if you know my family, you know about the gate. It's huge. It's intimidating. It's designed to keep the world out. But for me, it felt like it was designed to keep me out. I punched in the code. I wondered if they had changed it. It beeped. The gates swung open. My heart was hammering against my ribs. I parked the car in my old spot. The lot was full of cars, my brother's trucks, the vans. I sat there for a full minute, just breathing. I checked my mirror. I looked different. I was wearing jeans. My nose is pierced. I have a tattoo now. I am not the Jill Duggar who lived here. I am Jill Dillard. I wondered if he would recognize me, not my face, but me. Would he look at me with judgment? Would he see a rebellious daughter? Or would he see the woman I've fought so hard to become? I unbuckled my seat belt, took a deep breath of the Arkansas air, and opened the car door. There was no turning back. The front door wasn't locked. It never is. I pushed it open and the smell hit me instantly. It's a specific smell. Tater tot casserole, hairspray, and industrial cleaning supplies. It smells like my childhood. I stepped into the entryway. It was loud. It's always loud. I could hear kids running upstairs. I could hear Joy laughing in the kitchen. I could hear the industrial washing machines humming in the laundry room. For a second, I felt like a ghost. I stood there and nobody noticed me. It was like stepping into a time machine. The house looked exactly the same, yet entirely different. The photos on the wall. I looked for myself. I saw Jessa. I saw Jinger. I saw the new babies. But there were gaps where I used to be. It hurts to be erased. Even when you chose to leave, seeing the empty space where your picture used to hang, it stings. Walked toward the living room, my boots clicking on the floor. And then the noise stopped. One of the younger girls, I think it was Jordan, saw me. She dropped the toy she was holding. "Jill," she whispered. Before the kids could run to me, he walked in. He came from the office where he signed the contracts, the office where our lives were signed away. He was wearing that same polo shirt he always wears, but he looked tired. His hair is grayer now. His shoulders were slumped. He didn't look like the giant I remembered. He looked like an old man. He stopped in the doorway and just looked me. There was no camera crew, no producers telling us where to stand, no lighting check, just a father and a daughter standing 10 feet apart with a canyon of hurt between us. I expected him to lecture me. I expected him to comment on my nose ring. But his eyes welled up. I saw his chin tremble. He took a step forward and his voice cracked. "Hey, Jilly Muffin," that nickname. He hasn't called me that since I was 12. In that split second, the lawsuit didn't matter. The money didn't matter. Wasn't the plaintiff. I was just his daughter. And I started to cry. We walked into the kitchen. If you watch the show, you know this kitchen, the island. The bar stools, the industrial refrigerators. This is where we filmed our announcements. This is where we prayed. This is where the contracts were signed that bound us for years. Dad gestured for me to sit. I sat on the same stool where I sat when I was 16 talking about courtship. It felt surreal. like the set of a movie I had quit starring in. There was a jar of pickles on the counter, classic Duggar snack. He poured me a glass of water. His hands were shaking a little too. For a long time, neither of us spoke. We just looked at the granite countertop. I realized then that without the cameras, without the producers prompting us, we didn't know how to talk to each other. We had forgotten how to be father and daughter. We only knew how to be a Jim Bob Duggar and Jill Dillard, the rebellious one. He broke the silence first. He said, "It's too quiet in here without you." It was such a simple sentence, but it carried the weight of 5 missing years. I had played this moment out in my head 1,000 times. In my version, he falls to his knees. He admits everything. He says, "I was wrong to control you. I was wrong to keep the money. I was wrong to defend Josh. That's not what happened. Real life isn't a movie script." He looked at me and said, "Jill, I made decisions that I thought were best for the ministry and for the family. I was trying to protect you." My stomach tightened. Protecting me, I wanted to scream. But then he kept going. He said, "But I realize now that in trying to hold on to you so tight, I squeezed you right out of my hand. And for that, I am sorry. It wasn't a perfect apology. He didn't admit to the financial abuse. He didn't admit to the gaslighting. But for Jim Bob Duggar, a man who never admits he is wrong, it was earth-shattering. He acknowledged that he caused the distance. Not me, not Derick. Him. I had to decide in that moment, do I demand a perfect apology and leave, or do I accept an imperfect one and stay? I chose to stay. Then Mom came in. She had been in the laundry room. I don't think she knew I was coming. When she saw me sitting at the island, she dropped the basket she was holding. Towels went everywhere. Mom has always been the soft one, the keep sweet one. She didn't say anything. She just ran. She wrapped her arms around me and buried her face in my neck. She smelled like lavender and that familiar hairspray. She was shaking, sobbing. She kept whispering, "My baby, my Jilly." I felt her tears soaking my shirt. For years, I was angry at her too. Why didn't she stand up for me? Why did she side with Dad? But holding her there, feeling how frail she felt, the anger melted into pity. She is a victim of this system too, maybe even more than I am. She held me like she was afraid I would vanish if she let go. Be now, the word was out. Jill is here. The siblings started drifting into the kitchen. This was the part I was most afraid of. The family had split into factions. There were the ones who supported us, like Jinger, and the ones who stayed loyal to Dad, James and Jason. They came up and hugged me immediately. They've grown so much. They look like men now. Jennifer and Jordan clung to my legs. They looked at me like I was a celebrity. But not everyone was warm. I saw some of the others hanging back. I won't name names, but the tension was there. They looked at me with suspicion, like, "Are you recording this? Is this for your next book?" I could feel the judgment. To them, I am the traitor. I am the one who exposed the family secrets to the world. It was a weird mix of a family reunion and a Cold War standoff. I realized that even if Dad forgives me, rebuilding trust with 19 siblings is going to take a lifetime. Eventually, the kids cleared out. It was just me, Mom, and Dad again. We had to talk about it, the elephant in the room, the money. For years, we worked for free. When we finally asked for our share, it turned into a legal battle. Dad cleared his throat. He said, I know you and Derick are hurt about the finances. I sat up straighter. It wasn't just about money, Dad. It was about dignity. It was about owning our own lives. He nodded. He didn't argue. That shocked me. Usually, he would quote a verse about greed. Instead, he said, I can't change the past. I can't undo the contracts. But I want to help you now. Not with strings attached. Just as a father, he offered to help with some of the boys' school fees. I hesitated. Money from Dad always comes with strings. If I take this, do I have to film? Do I have to follow your rules? I looked him in the eye and said, Dad, we don't need your money. We're doing fine. But I appreciate the offer. Turning down his money was the most powerful thing I did that day. It shifted the power dynamic. I wasn't a dependent child anymore. I was an equal. I know what everyone is asking. Where was Derick? My husband is my rock. He is the one who pulled me out of the fog. He is the reason I found my voice. But he didn't come inside the big house that day. We talked about it for hours before I left. Derick said, Jill, I forgive your father, but I don't trust him. Forgiveness is given, but trust is earned. He refused to walk through those doors until he saw real, consistent change. He sat in the car parked down the road. He told me, if you need me, I am 30 seconds away. If you feel unsafe, if you feel manipulated, you run. Knowing he was right there gave me the courage to stay. Dad asked where he was. I looked Dad in the eye and said, he's protecting his peace, and he's protecting mine. Dad didn't like that answer. I saw his jaw tighten. He is used to sons-in-law who bow to him. Derick is the only one who never did. His absence was a loud statement. We are not back under your authority. I am visiting as an adult, not returning as a child. What couldn't avoid it forever, the book. Counting the cost is the reason for the silence. It's the reason I was called a liar by my own family. We were standing by the pantry when Dad finally brought it up. He said, Jill, your book, it hurt a lot of people. It embarrassed the family. I felt that old instinct to apologize, to say, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to, but I stopped myself. I took a breath and said, Dad, the truth hurts, but living a lie hurt me more. I told him that I didn't write it to destroy him. I wrote it to save myself. I wrote it so my sons would know why we left. He listened. He didn't agree. He will never agree, but he listened. He said, I remember things differently. And I said, I know you do. And that's okay. We don't have to agree on the past to have a relationship in the future. It was a stalemate, but it was a respectful stalemate. For the first time, we agreed to disagree without him cutting me off or quoting scripture to silence me. While we were talking, Jessa walked in with her youngest. And then Kendra came by with hers. There are so many new babies. Some of them I have only seen on Instagram. Some of them don't even know who I am. One of my nieces looked at me with blank eyes. She didn't know I was her aunt. To her, I was a stranger. That broke me. I missed the baby showers. I missed the births. I missed the birthdays. Those are moments you can't get back. No apology brings back 5 years of memories. I held Jessa's baby, and he smelled just like all Duggar babies do. I looked at his little hands and thought, I don't want you to grow up not knowing your cousins. Don't want my boys to be strangers to you. The cost of this feud isn't just paid by me and Dad. It's being paid by the next generation, and that is a price I am tired of paying. The Lost Boys, Jason, James, Justin, Jackson, they aren't little boys anymore. They are men. Some are married. Some have businesses. When I left, I was practically raising them. I was their buddy. I was their second mom. Leaving them was the hardest part of leaving the cult. Seeing them that day, it was interesting. They have their own eyes now. They see things. A couple of them pulled me aside away from Dad. They didn't say much, but the way they hugged me, it was tight, it was desperate. One of them whispered, I read your book. You were right. I won't say who. I don't want to get them in trouble, but knowing that my brothers, the ones I changed deepers for, are starting to wake up, that validates everything. They aren't just Jim Bob soldiers anymore. They are thinking for themselves, and knowing I might have helped open that door makes the pain worth it. People always pit me and Jessa against each other. The rebel vs. the loyalist, but the truth is more complicated. Jessa is the one who texted me the week before. She didn't say, Dad wants to see you. She just said, the door might be opening. Be ready. I think Jessa has been working on this from the inside. She knows how to handle Dad. She knows how to play the game better than any of us. I saw her watching us from the living room while I talked to Dad. She had this look on her face, like a chess player watching a move. I don't know if she did it for me or if she did it because the family image needs repairing. With Jessa, you never fully know. She is guarded. But when I was leaving, she gave me a hug, a real one. She said, I'm glad you came. It felt incomplete without you. We may have chosen different paths. She stayed. I left. But that sister bond, it's damaged, it's scarred, but it's not broken. You can't walk into that house without feeling the weight of what happened. The empty chair at the table, the name we don't say out loud, Josh. He wasn't there, obviously. He is where he belongs, in federal prison, but his ghost haunts every corner of the big house. Dad didn't bring him up. I had to. I asked, do you still talk to him? Dad looked at the table. He said, he's my son. I will always love him. I felt a flash of that old anger, the anger of a sister who was betrayed, the anger of a victim who watched her abuser get protected. I took a deep breath. My therapist told me I didn't need to save Dad from his own delusion. I just needed to speak my truth. I said, Dad, but trusting him was the mistake. We didn't resolve it. We never will. He sees a fallen hero. I see a predator. But standing there, I realized something important. I don't need Dad to validate my trauma anymore. I know what happened. The world knows what happened. His denial doesn't change my reality. And realizing that it set me free from the need to argue about it. As the sun started to set, the old dynamics tried to creep back in. Dad started talking about upcoming family events. You should come for Christmas, he said. You should bring the boys for the homeschool conference. 5 years ago, I would have said, yes, sir, immediately. But I am not that girl anymore. I looked at him and said, Dad, we can do dinner, maybe a visit, but we aren't joining the organization again. My boys go to public school. We wear what we want. We live how we want. I saw him blink. He isn't used to hearing no. He started to say something, maybe to correct me, but he stopped. He looked at my nose ring. He looked at my eyes. And I think he saw it. He saw that he has no power over me anymore. If he wants a relationship, it has to be on my terms, not his. He nodded slowly. Okay, Jill. Whatever you are comfortable with, that okay was the biggest victory of my life. It was time to go. Derick texted me, you okay? I texted back, coming out. I walked to the front door. That same door I entered with so much fear. Dad followed me out onto the porch. The sun was going down, casting that long golden light over the property. It was beautiful. Despite everything, it is a beautiful place. He turned to me. I love you, Jilly, he said. I love you too, Dad, I said, and I meant it. Then he hugged me, not a side hug. A real one. He held me tight like he used to when I was a little girl and scraped my knee. I felt his shoulders shaking. I felt 5 years of pride breaking down. I cried into his shirt. It wasn't a hug that fixed everything. It didn't erase the lawsuits or the pain, but it was a bridge, a fragile, shaky bridge, but a bridge nonetheless. I got back in my car. I saw Derick's truck parked down the road, waiting for me. As I drove down the driveway, leaving the big house in my rearview mirror, I felt a strange lightness. People ask me, are you moving back? Are you going to be on the show again? The answer is no. We are never moving back. Reconciliation doesn't mean restoration, doesn't mean restoration. I can forgive my father without wanting to be controlled by him. I can love my family without wanting to be in the family business. I drove toward Derick, toward my boys, toward the life we built. My home isn't the big house anymore. My home is a small house in Siloam Springs where we dance in the kitchen and talk openly about our feelings. I went back to visit the past, but I am driving toward my future. So where do we go from here? I don't know. And that's okay. Maybe we will have Christmas together. Maybe we won't. Maybe this was a one-time thing. Maybe it's the start of something new. But the silence is broken. The wall has a door in it now. I am teaching my boys that family is complicated, that you can love people from a distance. That forgiveness is for you. For them, I am Jill Dillard. I am a survivor. I am a mother. I am a daughter. I walked into the lion's den and I walked out whole. The feud is over. Not because we agreed on everything, but because I decided to drop the rope. I'm done fighting. I'm just ready to live. Thanks for listening to my story.